Hello, everybody. We're on the Stratford campus today, and we're going to go around and see what exactly people know about microdust. We'll be asking you two easy questions. First and foremost, what do you know about microdust?
I know that it's incredibly tiny particles that end up getting trapped in the air, and it's often from industrial waste, I guess.
Okay, honestly, not a bad answer at all.
Excellent.
So, for our second and final question,
Mm-hmm.
what do you know about coal usage and coal production in China and South Korea?
Very little, next to nothing.
Okay, first and foremost, what do you know about microdust?
Not very much.
Okay, no problem at all. We appreciate honesty here, as always. Truthfulness is a virtue, as they say. And our second question is, what do you know about coal usage in China and South Korea?
Again, not very much.
Okay, first and foremost, what do you know about microdust?
I don't know.
Okay, no problem at all. So, secondly, and finally, what do you know about coal usage in China and South Korea?
Absolutely nothing.
All right, quick and easy questions. First and foremost, what do you know about microdust?
Nothing.
Okay, no problem at all. So, second question, what do you know about coal production and usage in China and South Korea?
I don't think it's that high.
Okay. What do you know about microdust?
I think it has something to do with charcoal, and it's super small. I don't really know that much about it.
Honestly, not that bad. That's a strong answer from what we've got so far. Now, our second and final question is, what do you know about coal usage and coal production in China and South Korea?
I don't think I know anything. I'm assuming they produce it based off of the question, but that's probably all I can tell you.
Okay, so we have two questions for him today. First and foremost, what do you know about microdust?
Well, it's microscopic dust, I assume.
He isn't wrong. Second question, most importantly, is what do you know about coal production and usage in China and South Korea?
Well, I assume it's on the rise since the problem they have with really big smoking and breathing problems and the outbursts of smokes out of production. So I assume it's on the rise.
Okay. All right, so winding down, as you can see, seems not many people really know what's going on with microdust. We received some very strong answers in regards to some basic knowledge, but for the meat and potatoes of the whole issue, it seems like we're going to have to help them and give them the real 411 on microdust. So as you can see, a lot of people don't quite understand what microdust is, how it works, and where it comes from. So to start off, let's break down what exactly microdust is. Microdust, or fine dust, are tiny particulates in the air, less than 10 microns in size. They're smaller than a human hair, and in some cases, smaller than grains of sand. And they commonly come from one of two locations. You have natural and unnatural, or human-created forms of microdust. So for natural, it's about what you'd expect. As the name dust implies, it comes from the deserts around us, the pollen, the dirt, just everyday things that you'd expect in the world around us. While unnatural commonly stems from burning. So that's the gas in the car you use. That's the incinerator at your local plant. That's the factories that supply you the industrial goods that allow you to go about your day-to-day life. So, why is that important? When these things spread into the air, why are they relevant to our day-to-day life when we can't even see them? Well, to address that, first you need to know exactly what's in microdust. Microdust is made up approximately 60% of sulfate and nitrate, about 16% soot, about 6% minerals, and the rest of it is so varied and so tiny that we're not even quite sure why it's there or what effect it has on us. So now that we've covered exactly what fine dust is and where it comes from, let's talk about how it spreads. Fine dust, as the name implies, and as we talked about earlier, is super small. So, a lot of the time, it's not just that fine dust is produced in the places it affects, but in the places it's produced, it spreads to the areas around it. This happens due to a variety of factors. It can be the size of the particles, it can be the strength of the wind speed, or just how air travels around it. And in some cases, it can just be the height at which these particles are released into the air. Taller smokestacks means these microdust particles can travel farther because their initial height is higher. So which countries end up most affected by fine dust? Which ones really suffer from it being able to travel around it? Well, as one would expect from such a strong industrial giant, many of the countries surrounding China suffer strong effects from microdust. So that's Thailand, India, Korea. A lot of the countries that end up bordering or just being within the general vicinity of strong industrial centers end up suffering from microdust due to both the fact that they commonly have to make industry to support themselves as well, which creates more microdust, but due to the air bringing the microdust to them. So moving on from which countries are affected, let's talk about the most important aspect. Why do we care? What are the health problems? What are the side effects of living with microdust in your environment every day? To name a few, microdust can cause you health problems relating to your eyes, your skin, your brain, your respiratory system, your heart, and in some cases, can even make it harder for pregnancies to come to term. Some of the most intensive and extreme cases can have arrhythmias, cardiovascular disease, dementia, and it can even increase your chances of things like blindness or overall respiratory illness. Microdust, while we may not see it, has real, long-lasting effects on not just our lives, but the lives of our loved ones and the people around us, as it causes us to be both more vulnerable to a variety of health issues, but in some cases, develop health issues that we would have had no risk of developing at all. So moving forwards, in conclusion, looking back on all we've talked about, what's the future hold for microdust? Well, in some areas of the world, not a whole lot. No one's really talking about it. It doesn't seem to have their attention. While in others, for example, South Korea, the government is heavily investing in everything they can to not only use coal less, but to use coal in a cleaner, more efficient manner, while finding methods to try and block out some of the microdust coming in from neighboring countries. So what can you do? What does the future hold after you have watched this video? Well, as I'm sure many of you have found out, not a lot of people know about microdust and how important it is, the effects it has, and how easily it can spread. So honestly, the most sincere and straightforward thing we can do is ask you to spread the word. Just as microdust spreads so easily through the air, please take the time to inform those that you feel would have any degree of interest in this issue to spread the word. Help us help you fight microdust. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.